today's video. Let's talk about what it costs to start a trucking company as an owner-operator. You're going to buy your own truck, your own trailer, start your own business with your own authority. And I'm going to give you a ballpark idea. Someday I'm going to do another video and I'll break down exactly what it cost me, line by line, what I actually had to pay to get my own company up and operating. But one thing I want to make clear right out the gate is I can give you numbers, the next guy can give you numbers, 100 people give you numbers. Your numbers are not going to be exactly the same thing. Your insurance is going to vary. Your plates and stuff are going to vary depending on where you're at. Your equipment costs can vary dramatically depending on what specific truck and trailer you buy and where you're at, the condition it's in, and all that kind of stuff. So anything I tell you right here is going to be a ballpark figure. And later on, even when I give you my actual numbers, keep in mind your actual numbers are not going to be exactly the same thing. But it will give you a good idea, a ballpark, so you can have some idea what it's likely to cost you, and it gives you the information that you need so you can go look this stuff up for yourself and talk to the people you need to talk to and get exact quotes and get a pretty close estimate of what it's going to cost you out the door to get your trucking business up and running. So first thing we're going to talk about is buying a tractor, buying your truck. All kinds of different truck choices. My recommendation is that you buy something similar to what I bought, which is one of the most common trucks on the road, and that is a Freightliner Cascadia. Or you could buy a Volvo. But buy something, if you're looking to make money and you're not looking for a Ego Trip show truck right out the gate, although those are nice, but that's not what you want to put your money in if you want to stay in business right out the door, unless you already have a whole bunch of money in the bank. You want to get a truck that is decent, that you're proud to drive, but more importantly, that is mechanically sound and is capable of moving the box from point A to point B and making you money. That's what you're after, a reliable, solid truck that there's lots of them out there. The more that are out there, the more that are available, the lower the prices are. And the reason there's lots of these out there is that the big fleets use them left and right, Volvos and Freightliners. And there are other ones too, but that's your main thing. So that's your first thing. Figure out what kind of truck you're going to buy, and figure out if you're going to go for the Ego Trip, big KW, or the big Freightliner Classic, older truck, or you're looking for that big Peterbilt large car. If you want to do that, that's fine, but that's not the most intelligent thing, as I said, to do when you're trying to start a business right out the gate. If you don't really, unless you have a lot of money already and some knowledge of what you're doing. But that's your decision you got to make. You need to figure out what kind of truck you're going to buy. Then I'll tell you where to go get some accurate prices on that. Is go to Truck Paper for starters and look them up. And don't just look up one ad and say, all right, that's what it's going to cost. Look up a bunch of ads over several different days of that same specific truck you're interested in buying. Go to the local ads for the area that you're at. Look it up there too. See what's available. They'll give you a comparative market analysis. You'll be able to get a estimate of what the asking price is likely to be. Now, if you're good at negotiating, you might be able to get it down a little bit off of that, but that will give you a ballpark number. And I'm going to give you just a very vague ballpark number right out of the gate. Right now, if you're looking for a decent working truck, you're probably looking at about somewhere between $40,000 to $60,000 for a decent used truck that should be in pretty good shape and ready to work. Might be a couple little things need to be done to it, but overall it should be in good shape, and it should be good to go for another 200,000-300,000 miles or more before you need to do a full overhaul of the engine or any kind of major work on it, with the exception of that pollution crap. Now, DEF and its pumps and filters and any of the pollution stuff on these trucks, that crap breaks. And when it breaks, it costs you hundreds, if not thousands of dollars. And unless your entire system has been rebuilt, it's going to cost you money. So just know that going into it. And you can still go, like I said, you can go the other route, buy an older truck before all that stuff. But if it's been rebuilt, it's going to cost you an arm and a leg. If it hasn't been rebuilt, it's old and wore out, going to spit out some critical parts, and you're going to wind up having to rebuild that whole truck. So you're going to pay one way or the other. So just keep that in mind. And that's your rough ballpark. So let's just say, let's split the difference. Let's say about 50 grand. You should be able to find yourself a pretty good truck. That might be able to get it for a little less, might be a little more, but let's say about $50,000 for your tractor. You're going to need a trailer. The trailer you're going to get that's going to be roadworthy and ready to work is going to cost you a little bit of money too. You're probably looking, if you shop around, you can probably find a good trailer in the ballpark of 20 grand. You might get one for 15, you might get one 12, somewhere in that bracket. It might be higher than that depending on where you're at. It might be 25 or so, but let's just say 20. Let's say 20 grand should get you a pretty good road-worthy trailer that you don't have to do a tremendous amount of work to be able to hook it up to that tractor and get to work. So 50 for the tractor and another 20 for the trailer. So you got $70,000 coming out of pocket before you even hit go. Okay? And we're not going to talk about how you're going to pay for that. You know, unless you got a bunch of money in your pillow or your safe or whatever the case may be, you're going to have to figure that out. As you know, it's either save it up or have it or borrow it. There's all kinds of different ways to do it, but we'll worry about that for another video. But right now, we're just going to talk about what it costs, regardless of where you're coming up with the money to pay for all this stuff. Think about 70 grand in equipment. You know, like I said, you can shop around, get stuff for less than that, but the lower you go, the more likely you are to have more repairs that you're going to have to do on it, more rebuilding. I bought my trailer, I think I paid $3,500 for it. You heard that right, $3,500, not $35,000. But I bought it before the equipment prices went stupid. They've come back down some now, but they're not down to where they need to be, in my opinion. But equipment prices were low when I bought my truck and trailer. Bought it about a year before everything went through the roof, so I was lucky on that, and also was lucky to get a good solid trailer that it needed work done on it, but the bones of it were good. It was a Great Dane trailer. The thing is old, it was a 2000, and I rebuilt a tremendous amount of stuff on that trailer. I had to replace the airbags, all the airbags under it. Had an ABS sensor issue I had to take care of. To fix that, they had to pull one of the bearings and repack it, redo a sensor and some other stuff. I had to redo most of the electrical stuff on it. I had to replace the doors on it, replace the lights on it, replace all the tires on it. But the deal is, in my case, I was able to just put doors on it, really, and put a couple of airbags on it and get it working. Even the old tires that were on it, I just kept light loads on it, ran a few loads, and was able to use the trailer to pay for its own improvements. So, you know, I ran a few loads, replaced all the tires, ran a few more loads, replaced pretty much all the wiring on it, ran a few more loads, had other stuff rebuilt. But and I got lucky. I'll be the first one to tell you that too. It's a solid trailer that I still own and love very much. And now I probably got about somewhere between 15 to 20 grand out of it, and still add money to it. But that's your choices. You can either buy something that is old and cheap, and you'd be lucky if you get anything that cheap right now. But if you do know this going into it, if you buy a $5,000, $6,000, $7,000, $8,000 trailer or less, you're gonna have to put a lot of work into it. I can almost guarantee you that. So if you want something that's closer to turnkey, that's gonna run a lot of trips out without all that rebuilding stuff, you're looking closer to 20 grand, and generally speaking. So anyway, that's what we're talking about. You're talking about 50,000 for a tractor. You're looking at about 20,000 for a trailer. And that's not to say that you're not going to have to do some things to it. It might need inspection. It might need PM. It might need some work to set you back a few more $100 to get it up and ready to roll. Next thing you're going to need to get is your authority. The authority is one of the cheapest things you're actually going to have to pay for. It's only a few $100. Last time I checked it was $300. You need to look it up and make sure it's still what it is for yourself. But your authority is not the most expensive thing you're going to get. It's one of the cheapest things you're going to get. You log on to the FMCSA site, follow the prompts, fill out all the stuff, pay the money, and you'll get you authority. But before you can finalize your authority, before they're going to grant that, you're going to have the mandatory liability insurance in place, and that's what we're going to talk about next. That's going to cost you an arm and a leg. Depending on your driving history and all that stuff, it could be as little as $1,000 thereabouts a month, or it could be as much as more than $2,000 for you per month for your mandatory liability insurance, and probably lump into that cargo. Cargo is not mandatory, but you're going to need it. You know, no broker or shipper is going to give you loads without cargo insurance. And you're going to want insurance on your bobtail, your tractor, when you're not hauling loads and all that kind of stuff. So bobtail insurance, whatever you want to call it. You're going to lump all that stuff in, and your fee could be anywhere from $1,000 to $2,000 plus per month for your insurance for one truck. And you're going to want a chunk of money up front. They're probably going to want a couple $1,000s to initiate your policy, and by the time that you get rolling and making money, you might wind up having to pay another month, even possibly two. We hope it doesn't go into two, but you're gonna probably wind up having to pay another month's insurance. A lot of people fail to count that in and take that into consideration, and that's a big financial blow to them right out of the box. They've had to plunk out another $1,000 or $2,000 just for insurance that they weren't planning on having to do before they get a chance to go out and get the first load delivered. So insurance. Next, we're going to talk about your plates. You're going to have plates, and to get your plates and set up your IRP and your IFTA account, all that stuff out the gate, depending on your state, you're probably looking at another couple $1,000s to get that stuff set up and working and running. So a lot of people get shocked by that. They didn't realize it was going to cost that much money. Again, call your local area that administers all that stuff and figure out what it's going to cost you. But don't be shocked if it's a couple $1,000, a little bit more than that even, to get your plates and get your IFTA. So when you get all that stuff done, you're going to have, in addition to that, you're going to need to get yourself in a drug and alcohol testing program. You got to do a pre-employment drug test on yourself, even though you own the company. Under DOT regs, Federal Motor Carrier Safety regulations, the FMCSA is a sub-agency of DOT. They're going to mandate that you do that pre-employment test, and that you be in a consortium, or consortium as some people call it. It's a drug testing pool. It's administered by somebody else, and they charge you money for that. So your cost of your first test and the cost of getting your program set up could easily cost you a couple $100, maybe a little more, maybe a little less, but let's say $200 for that to get you in there. And if you get selected for randoms or anything, they're going to charge you every time that you do a test, and they're probably going to charge you some kind of annual fee or monthly fee to keep you in the pool. And again, it's not a catastrophic amount. It might be a couple $100 a year plus, $30-50 a test, something like that, if they do any further testing on you. So but you got to get that taken care of. You're going to have to build a qualification file on yourself. You're going to need forms to do that. And you can develop your own, but if you don't know how to do that, I'd recommend that you don't. You miss one little thing up, and it's not going to be compliant, and they're going to fine you thousands of dollars if they do an audit on you, because you try to save $1 and used your own forms that weren't right and messed it up. So unless you are certain that you know what you're doing, and when I say certain, that means you better have been a safety director, a safety assistant, or at least worked in the safety department of a decent motor carrier, or you've been a consultant or some kind of trainer or something that knows the stuff inside out. Now I say know it, I mean that you've been audited before, or assisted people have been audited, and you know for certain that it works, because there's a lot of boneheads out here in the trucking industry that get it in their mind because they've been doing something for 10 years, they've been doing it right, and they haven't been doing it right, they've been doing it wrong 10 years. And one day, DOT comes knocking at the door and they find out how wrong they had it, and the educational expense fee that DOT charges them for educating them and teaching them in classes measured in thousands of dollars sometimes. So don't try it if you don't know for sure that you know what you're doing. In which case, you need to go to JJ Keller and buy a qualification file packet with all the forms in it. You're still going to need to do a little homework so you know which ones you need to fill out and how you need to fill them out and how you need to put them in the file, but that'll get you a big step in the right direction. It's not a whole lot of money, $20-30, something like that, if you just buy them one. it's money well spent, and I highly recommend you do that. Now, you can hire consultants and third-party administrators to teach you how to do that, or you can even hire other companies to maintain your files for you. But if you do that, the cost that they charge you is going to be significantly higher than that. It's going to be it's either going to be a big fee up front, or it's going to be money on a month-to-month ongoing basis. And you don't really need that. It was just one owner-operator, one driver for now. But you do need to write forms. Get the forms from Keller. You're going to need to buy yourself an accident register too. Probably another $20. And you're going to need a few other things that we can talk about later. But you can do the math, add all that stuff up. That gets you close to the starting point. But we're not done yet. You're going to need to be able to get loads. And you can use free apps and things from brokers and free load boards and stuff. But if you're going to get out there trying to run hard, you're probably going to want access to a paid load board too. Probably that, in addition to the apps and the free stuff you're going to use, to give yourself a maximum chance of getting a decent number of loads and making as much money as you need to make to keep the doors open. And to do that, you're probably looking at around $50 a month. And again, they got more expensive plans, all that kind of stuff too, but you're looking at probably about another $50 a month. And then you're going to have to put fuel in the truck. Before you go anywhere, after you got all that stuff done, and you're also going to have to put lettering on your truck of some type. If you have the capability of printing your own vinyl and putting it on there, good on you. If not, you're going to have to pay for that. That might be another $70. Now, if you pay somebody to put it on there, it might be a couple of $300. Or you can go to cheap route like some people do, and go to Lowe's and get house numbers, stick on that. It looks like crap, so please don't do that. Don't be that cheap. Spend the money to get good vinyl letters and put the name of your company and DOT stuff on there, and put all that stuff on there, and get it on there right and get it looking nice, and put fuel in the truck, and then you're getting close to being ready to go out and run your first load. And then you're gonna have to keep in mind, even that once you start running loads, you're not gonna get paid instantly. In some cases, you're gonna need a factoring company or some way of getting your money up front, because the old way of billing stuff might take it 2 or 3 weeks or more before you get paid. So these days you can bill online. You can some of them have quick pay for a little bit off the top. They'll give you the rest of your money quick, usually the next day or 2 days later or something like that. And a factoring company would do essentially the same thing. A factoring company, once you set up an account with them, they'll give you your money a lot quicker, but they want to be paid for the thing of doing that. But you got to remember, you have massive amounts of money flowing out from day one, from before day one. So as soon as you start punching buttons to do this, it's going to start costing you money long before any money comes in. And when you deliver that load, that's going to take you probably anywhere from a couple hundred to maybe more in fuel. And then you got to put fuel in it again to get ready to run the next trip. The truck's hungry. It wants fuel every trip, every other trip, depending on how long the loads are that you're running. So you can begin to see it costs a crap load of money to get a trucking business up and off the ground and operating. So the reason I'm telling you all this stuff, a lot of people think, I just go pay for my authority and I can get a truck and it's not that expensive and I can go out and throw a trucking company up. Good luck with that. And understand too, all the things I've just told you about doesn't cover breakdown. Stuff breaks on trucks. I've had many things break, and usually when it breaks, it's $2,000, $3,000, $4,000. And I keep multiple thousands of dollars in the bank at all times. And I'm not comfortable unless there's more than 20 grand in the bank. And really, I would like it to be about double that at all times in reserves, that money is just there to cover crap that breaks in emergencies. It's not there for, just because I want to use it to buy something or put chrome on a truck, something. It's there for towing and emergency roadside repairs and, the DEF pump crap breaking or, filters clogging. I mean, things happen. It has to be fixed to get the truck back on the road and keep rolling. And you got to have the money to pay for that. And I've seen a lot of owner operators put out of business because they didn't calculate that stuff out right and had no reserves for that. They didn't have any operating reserves to cover them or to cover their own food and their housing costs and stuff while they're out there getting set up and running money. Running money. Be nice to run money. But running to earn some money. And but it costs a lot of money to get your business up and running. So go back and add all that stuff up and then go do some homework, look these things up for yourself, get a much more informed, bigger picture of what it's likely to cost you to start your own trucking business. If you like this kind of stuff, say something in the comments, subscribe to the channel, and then I will, in a not too distant future, make a detailed video explaining my actual cost and breaking all that stuff down for you too. Till then, take care, be safe.